more visible project right now. We've been lucky with the good weather lately. The contractor was given a notice to proceed on July 7th, and the project was supposed to be completed by October 5th. Contractor started a little late for various reasons, and as you can see, they're still working out here, and they've been lucky enough to be fortunate with warm weather, so they can proceed with the cement work and the pavers. They'll be done pretty much with a good 2/3 of the project, not the entire plaza itself, but 2/3 of it. They'll be done within the week or 2 weeks. But I've seen it, I did a walkthrough today. It looks fantastic. I think it's a good indication of how that plaza is going to look like. We have the lights on actually on both sides. The overall project itself, we may have some change orders because when they started tearing up the plaza, they found some things that we were not aware of, and also the contractor, Jimmy Hoffa. Right. But that's what happens. I mean, we're doing work that hasn't been touched in decades. So when you don't do regular preventive maintenance or constant repairs to some of the infrastructure here, the decay that you could have prevented gets worse. So we waterproofed the basement of the chapel itself, so we don't have any more water infiltration in the chapel. So we took care of that when we were doing the plaza. So I think at the end of the day, the community is going to be happy with the project. It's unfortunately not going to finish on time, and they'll be shutting down, like I said, in the next week or so, and they'll be resuming in the spring, but I don't think the remaining amount of work that they're going to be doing in the springtime is not going to be substantial. It's a small piece because they were able to take advantage of the good weather for the past few weeks.
So I haven't been in the back, or back, which is actually the front door of the church, the west side of the church. How far is the current project extended back there?
It goes all the way to the Island House property line. So I think right up to the garden area.
So essentially the whole south side, which is a big piece, and the side adjacent to the bus stop,
Right.
up to the building line seems to go as far as they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise in the back.
Right, and they will be opening that up in the next couple of days or so.
That'd be nice. It looks pretty good, by the way.
And they still have some
Never
work.
forget, 20 days of rain. There were 20 days of rain
Mm-hmm.
in August and September.
Right,
That doesn't allow a lot of work to get done.
right,
I'm glad we got the warm weather now.
right, right, exactly. So we'll work out these issues with the contractor. There may be some change orders that we have to discuss and see what's appropriate.
Remember, anything they find, they have to turn over to Judy.
Of course.
Do I get all the bollards?
Was there any issue with drainage on that? I heard some stuff on the blogs about,
The drainage was taken care of. That was
what was
one
the
of,
problem?
well, it was pitched toward the plaza itself. I mean, not the plaza, but
The
the
church.
building, the
Church,
church
right,
itself.
right.
So that was all corrected.
But we knew all about that. I mean, that
Yes.
was on the plan,
Right.
but there was something, do you remember what it was on the blog? There was something on the blog about something happened with the drainage, that we did it wrong, we did something wrong and realized.
The,
and
the,
when they
the
first-
stormwater drains that we installed, or the
Yeah,
contractor
what-
installed?
I don't know, it was something with drainage, I
It
just
wasn't
don't remember.
pitched
Right.
right, we had them take it out.
Right, the contractor,
Okay, the contract.
There was an error by the company.
right,
Okay.
we have new drain systems on the front of the church, which is on the west side of the church, as well as on the east side of the church. You see those narrow
Right. Right.
drains. The contractor did not install them as per the drawings.
Okay.
Okay, so, and they try to sell us a bill of goods, but we have a very strong engineering department, and they were not
Good,
accepting anything that was subpar, and especially if it violated
That's
the
fine.
drawings.
That's-
So the contractor had to eat it, they had to tear it up,
Good.
and they're gonna come back and debate it and so on, but
Okay.
it's a non-discussion.
They pulled it out
They
and they
pulled
put
it out
it
and
in the
reinstalled it.
appropriate
Okay.
stuff, and our engineers were comfortable with the
Right.
relaying of the
Perfect.
drainage
Exactly.
the second time they put it
And
in.
they're gonna come back and ask
And they
for
were
money
caught
for it,
pretty
we're
early.
so you're not gonna do the money.
Right.
Normal New
Normal,
York
everyday
construction,
stuff.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Process.
But things that were unforeseen, like things that they excavated and
That's
so
fine.
on, that we didn't know about, and we didn't make it clear because we didn't know about it, and they didn't know about it, we can talk about that.
So there's that
Yeah, the
balance.
whole diagram, were they actually out of code?
with the installation?
The,
Were they out of
With the
city
drains?
code? Yeah, or were they just out of the diagrams?
no, there's no city code involved, it's as per the specs, so there's a certain
Okay.
way to install this drainage system, and they didn't follow
Okay.
because at the end of the day, the contractor realized they were getting a late start, and we have liquidated damages associated with this project.
Okay, so-
I think it's about $200 a day. So they signed on the contract, okay, we gave them a notice to proceed on July 7th, and you said you're gonna complete by October 5th, and they realized they couldn't get it done. So they tried to speed up the job, and you know, what happens when you speed up a job, you cut corners when no one's looking and so on. But we have, like I said, a strong engineering department, and they didn't accept it, so they had to redo it. But it's not a code per se, Michael,
Okay.
it's there's an instruction on how to do this locking system for the drainage.
Okay.
And we didn't want ponding inside
Right.
in the drains themselves.
So when might this space be?
Well, they're gonna work on, the next couple of days, they're working on the
The south side of the plaza, which is
Well-
about 2/3 is gonna open.
Yeah, that's gonna open up, and then the east side, I'm trying to get my orientation, the east side, where the Main Street side of the plaza, they're gonna be working on the sidewalk and connecting those drains
Okay.
to the outfalls, they're connecting that, and one thing that came up, is that when we presented to the community, we said we were gonna put pavers, no, I'm sorry, not pavers, a concrete sidewalk, in the front of that, of the drain where it faces Main Street, if you recall. And there's a concrete underbed that's gonna be going there, and it may happen next spring. But we may introduce the whole Z-brick component to it again, because, and this is something that was thought about after the fact. Instead of putting a concrete sidewalk, keeping the continuity of the Z-brick, which will keep the uniformity of Main Street, which I consider the historic district of Roosevelt Island. So instead of introducing,
Gee, and you know how I hate these.
I don't like secret?
I love them. I love them. I hate to
So-
see them go.
so there may be a slight change order for that, because, and then this is also in concert with the whole Main Street plans that they have with Hudson Companies, and again, keeping the historic nature of Main Street. If we start interrupting it with concrete,
Good.
it will lose that essence of community here. So these are things that we're discussing, but the contractor is obligated to put in a concrete sidewalk there. But we'll see what happens.
You know, those the little posse of kids that hang out, the little posse of kids that hang out Yeah, with my son. That little park that's on the west side, yeah. where you have the Remembrance Tree, and there's that little tiny park there.
Yes,
That's
that's
uh,
Island House.
okay, so we don't have to do that.
No.
That needs to get that's pretty nasty. That needs to
Right.
be cleaned up at some point.
Right, it's up to Island House. I know that Rivercross has worked with the same contractor to do some replacement of their portion of their property on Main Street. So they use the same contractor, install the same pavers and so on, and we also worked with them to coordinate the work that they're doing with the ramp and the asphalting, I think they're doing, or water protection
Okay.
in their plaza area.
Right.
Yeah, the kids tend to play dodgeball in that little park.
Right, right. If when you see it, you're gonna say, wow, because it has that effect when you look at this new plaza, especially when you can compare it to the northern side and still see the small pavers. But you'll also get a sense of openness. So it's gonna invite a lot of activities, game playing with kids, as well as maybe concerts, which we do already, but I think the fact that it's a nice open plaza, a nice clean plaza, is gonna even be that more inviting for folks.
And when are we gonna tackle the roof? Is that gonna be,
Well, because we were supposed to tackle the roof, this fall. But because the contractor, the paving contractor, is behind schedule, we had to postpone the roof until next spring. And the roof contractor said he will hold his price.
but weren't we gonna see another presentation again about the roof? Didn't,
Yeah, well, I think Howard Polly had, or
Right.
was it Dr. Grimm sent an email to us to say that she wanted to talk about it more. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the board approved the slate roof, but there were some questions that came up afterwards. But we can have a meeting to talk about that. But I think we're gonna still wind up with the same, conclusion with a slate roof. But,
I'm not so sure of that. I mean, I don't wanna
I'm
get
not
us
so sure.
to a week before they're ready to start and everybody's ready to go, cause
Okay.
from what I
we
hear from
we can
Kathy.
schedule a separate meeting just to talk
Let-
about that, and I'll have the necessary people, the
Good.
contractor, the architects, and so
Perfect.
on.
Let's not do
Um,
it at the bottom of the night though, so we put everybody in a,
No, absolutely.
spot.
It's not gonna happen until the springtime, and you may ask, why are we doing the roof after we're doing the pavers? The reason why we moved forward with the pavers before we did any type of exterior work is because we had a significant, condition with the pavers. We had various trip hazards, we had broken
Also, the
pavers.
building foundation in that area.
Exactly. We had just too many critical conditions, that we felt it was just an exposure for the corporation and a
We have to be
significant
cautious
liability.
that the lifting cranes, and don't mess up the new.
Right, we'll have the necessary protection, right, they're
Well,
like,
yeah, but you drive a lifting crane, it's gonna lift the stuff up there, and it's gonna like,
Right.
maybe mess up the seating of the nice new paving we just put in.
Particularly those incredibly heavy and dangerous roofing slates.
right.
right.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Margie, maybe sometime in January, we'll have all the necessary parties here,
Perfect.
way in advance,
Way in advance, that's what I'm asking
before
for, good.
we actually proceed with the work.
They're gonna bring samples of both slate and
Slate, we'll have the imitation slate, and then we'll have asphalt. And we'll have price comparisons, and again, we'll have the architects, we'll have Judy, if she's available to talk about it as well, we have the Landmarks Conservancy, we'll have all the people
We're gonna
here.
have to hear from Judy. that's
Judy,
all.
you're available sometime in the spring to talk about
I'll be up
this?
on the roof with my
January,
nail,
January.
putting the
Right.
roof.
Making sure it gets.
No, I wanna be on the 45-degree angle, doing that.